So you want to find a position that's both relaxed, but also has a posture that feels like it's you're holding a state of attentiveness. So it's kind of a relaxed awareness. So one of the things that we often start with is sensing into our body. Because what we don't want to do is have the meditation be something that puts us into a transcendent state that isn't really here, isn't happening here in our own experience. You know, I think a lot of our images of meditation and our concepts of meditation come from old images that we remember from the 60s, or a kind of escape, a way of leaving this reality for some better reality. And that's not what we're doing. So it's also true that when we begin to settle in, and the energy field of the group, the consciousness that we're actually gathering in, has a tendency to put us into an alpha state, which is a relaxed state, where our nervous system, as Joanna was saying, begins to unwind, and a deeper part of the nervous system that's not in fight or flight, that's not connected to our primitive parts of our brain, begins to have more access. So as we drop in, as we become more present, what we begin to encounter is the silence and the spaciousness of our true nature. That true silence and that true space are what we long to rest in. So we begin to also feel the real fatigue that we're often using our adrenaline to stay above, whether it's through stimulants like coffee or other things. And when we begin to get really present, we drop below that to something that's truly nourishing, that is truly restful. So it's a good question, Joe, because as we're beginning, just first of all, orient yourself to the space that you're in. Give yourself a moment to become present with the room. Notice the temperature of the air in the room, the lighting, the quality of the energy in the space that you're in. It's all part of your experience of tonight. It is not just what's happening in your mind or in your heart or in your physical body, but the presence that is actually holding you, that you as a human being are arising in. So allow yourself to take it in, to kind of open to it as something that's alive, even though we call it space. And then find a position or a posture that allows you to be comfortable. So it should be a kind of relaxed, awake awareness. Comfortable, but still conducive to being attentive. So that attention isn't a rigid attention. It's a relaxed awareness, present to what's actually unfolding in you and as you. And then begin to feel your breath. Just notice your breath as a sensation, and notice the movement of your body as your body meets the breath. And as you're kind of sensing your body, sensing the breath, sensing the movement of the breath, aware that you're in a very intimate relationship with the presence that surrounds you, that you're being supported by the containment, the holding of the room that you're in. And see if you can also keep a bit of awareness to the space that's in front of you. That we can feel our physical body and the boundaries of our body, or the boundedness of the physical body. We can also sense what's in front of us. Have some awareness of what's behind you. Sense the space behind you. Sense the area of presence to the left of you and to the right of you. And above you and below you. And just notice how that affects your experience of yourself in this moment. So you're sensing your body in a relaxed, awake posture. And also aware of what's in front of you, what's behind you, to the left, to the right, above and below. Just this simple broadening of our awareness allows us to begin to sense the more subtle part of our nature. It may actually be relaxing to the muscles in your body as you open your body to what's around it, or as you extend the awareness of your presence. It's a way of beginning to sense yourself as a presence. So this is just a way of preparing to deepen. I think I've maybe said before, one of my teachers of the Enneagram, Russ Hudson, said that perhaps the most important part of meditation is the moment when the bell rings and you turn inward. So feel the breath, sense your body. And extending the awareness even beyond the room. Let your awareness from within your presence begin to sense the earth itself. And as we begin, I ask permission of Pachamama, our Mother Earth, to enter into this sacred work together. Greeting her with acknowledgement. And we also welcome and greet the spirits of the mountains, the waterways, our apus, who hold and maintain the balance of the energy in the regions that we find them. So in this moment, even to allow yourself to connect with a particular mountain that feels particularly close, beautiful, resonant with your spirit. And invite this being to be with you tonight. To support you. Allow yourself to receive this assistance. One of the times that we were in Peru and having a teaching from grandfather, somebody asked, how do you make this connection with the land, with our apus, these spirits of the mountains? And he said, just remember what your first crush was like and approach it in that way. Turn towards this being with that same feeling of joy and love and longing and aliveness and desire that was there in that first crush. And then open to feel the response as it comes back. As we open to our deeper nature in this way, we also greet our ancestors. Welcome them. We ask them to be with us. As they paved the pathways that have brought us to be together here in this way, brought us into life. We can feel as we're even in these opening greetings that we're moving from a position of self-interest to a position of collective interest. We move from serving ourselves to serving the well-being of all. And so everything is included. Everything is part of us. Everything is part of our coming together and our reason for coming together. We also welcome the teachers and guides that have influenced us, who've had a role in awakening us. Whether it was in a particular role as a teacher, or just somebody we met who happened to say something to encourage us or to challenge us. We greet them. We make a place at the table. This includes all of the medicine carriers in all traditions who have, in different forms, sat together in the same way, have been in ceremony. We welcome the angelic presences, the guides and masters in spirit, who help us to navigate and keep us safe, hold us as we travel in our dream time, as we open to the deeper realizations in our everyday life. We return to our childlike wonder as we welcome the energies of the star beings. The portals to the wisdom and the mystery that's held in the unconscious. What's yet to be known, what's yet to be revealed. And as we open in this way, we do it with an attitude of joyfulness, of celebration, not seriousness. So we come back to that place of relaxed, awake awareness. Aware of our body, the breath, the space in front of us and behind us, to the left, to the right, above and below. Just take a few moments in silence to just feel this presence, this moment, exactly as it is. Acknowledging that you're sitting in the presence of all parts of true nature. When nothing is rejected, everything is welcomed. There's no conflict, nothing to push away from, nothing to pull on. And this includes our inner life. So we make space for our thoughts. We allow them to be present, to do what they do without attaching or pushing away. Just giving the thoughts the space to be here too. Making a place for our feelings. So that whatever is arising as it's intended is allowed to move through us. Our sensations, they're all forms of consciousness. And if they're present in our awareness, they're here for us. They're here to be given the space to move through, to be digested, metabolized. And there's a part of us that's aware of all of this, but not involved in it. And as you're sensing, also allow the sounds in the room, the sounds near and far, to come to you rather than you going out to them. Just as the awareness of your presence on the sensory level is here, allow the sounds to come to you. If your eyes are open, allow the visual impressions to come to you. If not, just allow your awareness now to be within you. Letting each breath be a deepening a little bit more into yourself. If you find that your mind is drifting off into some story, just notice that. Make space for that and return to this relaxed, awake awareness. That's neither pushing anything away or pulling on anything to be a different way. And as we just sit and experience whatever you're experiencing right now, we can maybe simplify the process of what it is that we're actually here for in this moment, what it is that we're heightening our awareness of, that makes a distinction between the part of us that is in this life and of this life, and the part of us that's in this life but not of it. The part of us that's in this life and of this life is the part that began at birth, was given a name, is defined by a series of events that are woven together as a history. It's comprised of conditioning that we've taken in from others. It experiences itself as separate, as unique and separated from other forms of physicalness of other people. And it holds a belief that it's held within a time frame that ends at death. Sometimes when we're identified with this self, it's the shape that our soul takes in that moment. So our soul takes the shape of whatever it's experiencing. Which means our egoic self, the self that's bound in time between birth and death, and defined by its history, is also part of the soul. So we make space for that. It's what we function through. All of the work of the ancient spiritual traditions is pointing us towards a deeper self that isn't bound within that time frame of birth and death, which has no history, no conditioning, no self-images. And when we find those moments where we suddenly feel free of the constraints of the mind and its limitations, we get a glimpse of something that is eternal, that is also us, but unlimited and free. It's what's aware of what's arising moment to moment, but it's not involved in it or defined by it. It's not pulled by the desires of the egoic self, because there's nothing missing in it. It's complete. We are complete. We're whole in this deeper part of our nature. So, in a very simple way, we're inviting a movement of our awareness from within the identification of that self that's bounded by birth and death into the deeper self that's eternal. The deeper self whose name is the same for each of us. I am. It's the same as the name of our Mother Earth, of the Apus, of the star beings, of the empty space. I am. So we don't need to fight with the egoic self to try to kill it or get rid of it. It's a part of us whose awareness is limited. And we don't need to try to fight to get our historical self, our acquired self, to become enlightened. It doesn't need to. It's welcome. It's what we need to function in the world, to be able to reflect back upon ourselves, to actually notice the experience of something deeper that's eternal. The great master Ramana Maharshi used to ask in a very simple way. The whole spiritual unfoldment can be found in the question, who am I? If we look into the beliefs and convictions that the small self has, we see that it has a relative truth, but we can go deeper. So we continue to ask the question, who am I? Another way of asking the same question is to look at what I can see and feel and experience in this relative reality, and ask, and what else is here? But it's not a question for the mind, it's a question to be felt into. What else is here? What do I feel in this empty space that holds me in this moment, in this room? If I really sense into it, what is its nature? And what's aware of it? is it really possible to be separate from anything and everything? There really are no such things as boundaries except psychological boundaries. Try as hard as you can to separate yourself from reality. There's nowhere to go. I am. And I come into the actual living experience of my own presence in a relaxed, awake awareness. Aware of what's in front of me, what's behind me, to the left, to the right, above and below. And in the center of this is the inner heart, radiating a light that is the spark of creation that's creating you as you in this moment. A form of consciousness with no history. It doesn't deny your personality self. It's a form of consciousness that has a history. But which has a deeper truth to it? One is finite, the other part of you is infinite. How much we could let go of struggle if we could allow the finite part of us to serve the infinite. In a very relaxed way. It's like, okay, what's next? What are we doing now? Not to ask the limited mind, what do I want to do now, or what do I need to do now? But to get our finite self to turn towards its deeper nature and say, what's next? It's what children do. That's what it means to be childlike. What's next? Right to the point of death. What's next? But we're here. We're living. We have this opportunity to be the radiance, to allow the finite self to be the vehicle for our true nature to live in the world. in its nature, the most basic quality of which is love. So we open our hearts, we soften our hearts, and we allow the light of the inner heart to begin to flow out and around our circle, passing from one heart to the next, weaving a beautiful tapestry of color, of sound, of light. As the light flows out of our heart, and this weaving takes place and the light returns to us, we also allow ourselves to receive. And we allow the breath to be the vehicle of this giving and receiving from the inner heart to all of creation. And returning to this beautiful, unique aspect of the one that sits here as you. Being formed in this moment, true nature and the action of true nature is self-revelation. So we don't need the story to hold us together. We don't need our history of the finite self. We hold it as experience. We hold it as the food that our soul has grown from. So we don't get rid of it, but we don't live within it. We open to what's next, what's now, if I'm not that. This awareness that can sense what's in front and behind and on the sides and above and below can expand to the experience of knowing that we are everywhere and in everything. There's nowhere to go, nothing to step into, no one to be, nothing to become. And while one aspect of our being is stillness, silence, it's a part of us that's always existing as the stillness and the silence. We gather the evidence of our experience to know that we're also very much alive. That being, that true nature has a dynamism. That the stillness and the silence are the suchness of true nature. There's another aspect of our nature that is alive and dynamic and in creation, coming into form, dissolving out of form all the time, always in a state of change. So our meditation practice doesn't have to be a state of deadness or nothingness. It might experience a nothingness that's everything. It doesn't have to be completely quiet. It's moving. It's a presence. Meditation isn't an activity, it's our natural state. When I sit in the eternal I am, I also see the same I am in everything and everywhere. And within this consciousness, we invite now all of those loved ones and ones that we are not even aware of who may be suffering right now, who aren't in touch with the eternalness of their nature, who are caught in the story. And we hold them within this deeper singular truth, in the presence of love and healing. But from the light within our inner heart, we hold them and see them in the light within their inner heart. The source that everyone and everything is always returning to. This beautiful light that's always singing us home, whether it's home into the consciousness of our true nature at the peak of our aliveness, or whether it's singing us home at the end of the life of the finite part of us into its eternal nature, into our eternal nature. So as you sit in your own presence in this moment, radiating the one light of the I am that is within you, feel the power of yourself to light the entire cosmos. And we'll sit for a few moments together in silence in this awareness. Feeling what it's like to sit as the one that's always awake. Always. So as we come into these last few minutes of our time together, to Pachamama, our Mother Earth, who gives us the gift of life, who sustains this one who is bounded by birth and death, host to the part of us that is eternal, we say thank you. To our ancestors who sit with us in this way and who paved the pathways that have brought us to be here, we say thank you. To our guides and teachers, those in form and those who've passed on, for their assistance, for their friendship, for their guidance, we say thank you. To the guides and the angelic presences, the masters in spirit who illuminate our becoming, we say thank you. To those of us who gather in these circles in this way, through whose presence, without this presence, we wouldn't be able to have this experience. As we turn to each other in the interconnecting circles, we say thank you. And as we turn our attention towards the inner heart of this being who sits as you, on this day, in this moment, in this way, for the courage that it takes to walk this path in this time of transformation, we say thank you. Aho.